Hello friends, the theme of ravishing of Leda by the Greek god Zeus in the form of a swan is a recurrent theme in Western art. We can go back to Paphos, where there was a temple dedicated to the goddess Aphrodite. Aphrodite is the goddess of raw love, love in the most crude form, and people went there to ask for vitality, sexual vitality, and there they had on a mosaic on the wall the picture of Leda with a swan. That goes back to 8th century or maybe even before that, because Aphrodite was probably a Phoenician goddess who got accepted by the Greek. Homer in the 8th or 9th century BC writes about this temple dedicated to Aphrodite and the mosaic of Leda and the swan. You can see the sexual overtones. The tones are quite pronounced there actually, that tell you about the relevance of Leda and the swan. You recognize Zeus in the form of a swan, and the proud lady that you saw was Leda. Who was Leda? Leda was the wife of king of Sparta, Tyndareus, and she was seduced by Zeus. Zeus, the king of gods. Zeus, who is very much like Indra. You have already seen a scene from the temple of Aphrodite in Paphos. Now let us look at some of the sculptures from ancient times in Greece. You would notice that there is Leda almost being raped by the swan, who is holding her by her nape. The artist gives you the dorsal view so as to present the rape in its most effective form. There is another picture from a bronze in Roman times, which could have been an influence on W.B. Yeats's poem. Finally, we come to a 4th century BC statue which was done by Timotheus. Timotheus was a sculptor in the temple of Aesculapius. Aesculapius, as you might remember, was a god of medicine, and he had a staff on which you could see 2 snakes coiled around it. That is a familiar picture in books dedicated to medical science. I am going to show you now a statue of Leda and the swan. Here Leda is trying to hide the congress that she is having with the swan. Leda and the swan was not a theme just for statues, but they drew them also on medallions, Roman medallions, on which on one side they boldly showed the portrait of a courtesan, a prostitute, and on the other side there was the picture of Leda and the swan. They also drew it, and here I have an interesting picture from a Greek vase which could probably be of 4th century BC. Here you have Leda meeting a swan. Behind her is the god of sleep, Hypnos. The word hypnosis or hypnotic comes from this god Hypnos. And he has a staff in his hand which carries water from the river Lethe. Lethe, as you know, is the river that surrounds Hades. The Hades is the place in Greek mythology where the dead people go. And Hypnos carries some water, drops of water from this river Lethe, so that he can drop it on Leda, so that she can have this extramarital sex with Zeus. Zeus was a god, and it was necessary for other gods to come and help him. Zeus was the king of gods. So Hypnos was there to help Zeus make love with Leda, because her prick of conscience had to be removed with the help of sleep. On the other hand, you also see the goddess of persuasion, that is Pytho. Pytho, the goddess of persuasion, or the goddess of persuasive seduction. A man has to seduce a woman before he can make love with her. And Pytho is the goddess of seductive love. You have seen how Leda and the Swan has been portrayed in sculpture, relief, and in painting. I am just going to read out a few lines from a play by Euripides, a contemporary of Socrates. Socrates, it is said, that wrote some of the plays for Euripides, which may or may not be true. In this play called Helen, which was translated by one Mr. Woodhull, Helen saying, "I derive my birth and my sire Tyndareus. There prevails a rumor that to my mother Leda, Jove was born on rapid wings, the figure of a swan, assuming, and by treachery gained admission to her embraces, flying from an eagle, if we may credit such report." Here you have Jove instead of Zeus, because Jove was a Roman god, and artists, especially British artists, in the 19th century valued Roman gods, or gave preference to, prioritized Roman gods over the Greek gods. So Zeus, as it were, left the scene, yielding place to Jupiter or Jove. This is about 5th century BC. Now, around the 1st century AD, you had a famous artist called Ovid, and he wrote a famous book called Metamorphoses. Here there is a short reference in book 6 to Leda. It's a very short one, and I would like to read out the line. "Astery in the struggling eagle's clutch she wove, and pictured Leda as she lay under the white swan's wings. Pictured Leda as she lay under the white swan wings, and added to how Jove, once in a satire's guise, had got Antiope with twins." In the medieval times, as you know, that the church became very powerful and issues of morality became predominant. Not truth to life, moral issues became very important. Anything that had to do with carnal desire was considered bad, and artists refrained from showing anything that suggested even remotely of physical love. Once Renaissance came to flower in Europe, you again had a burst of images, paintings, sculptures, frescoes, all sorts of paintings and illustrations from on the theme of Leda and the Swan. Now I am going to show you a few pictures from the Renaissance. Here in the background you have already seen a copy of Michelangelo's picture of Leda and the Swan. Notice the sensuousness of this picture. It's a very significant picture, and it was there in W.B. Yeats's house, and it could have been an influence on W.B. Yeats's poetry. Notice how warmly Leda is accepting the swan, and the swan's beak has almost reached the lips of Leda, and he makes sure that the stem of his long neck is snugly placed between Leda's breasts. Leda, though a little shy, and her fingers suggest how much she is enjoying the whole intercourse. There is another picture by Leonardo da Vinci, and in this picture you have not only Leda and the swan, but also there are 4 children below. Who are these children? Those 4 children are coming out of 2 eggs. It's interesting. The artist must have thought that when birds copulate, they lay eggs. So when the Greek god Zeus is copulating, is having congress with Leda, what would the offspring would be in the form of an egg. Tradition has it, there are various stories, but one of them says that from one egg that hatched, there were 2 children. One was Helen and the other was Polydeuces. There was another egg, and this egg was not from Zeus but from Tyndareus, and from this egg came out Clytemnestra and Castor. So you had 2 brothers, that is Castor and Polydeuces, and you have 2 sisters, Helen and Agamemnon. This birth of Helen is a momentous event in Western history, because seduction of Helen by Paris led to the war which is called the Trojan War, which became the occasion for Homer's epic, the Iliad and the Odyssey. It is for that reason that Leda and the Swan is a very significant theme in Western art. I was telling you about the 2 brothers 1618 picture of Castor and Polydeuces abducting Phoebe and Hilera, daughters of Leucippus. Phoebe and Hilera were getting married. Castor and Polydeuces, their cousins, went to attend that wedding, and there they discovered that instead of the grooms, they should have these women. And here in this picture you see them physically lifting Phoebe and Hilera, and this is the theme of the painting by Rubens. There is an interesting passage in Sri Aurobindo's The Secret of the Vedas, in which he identifies Castor and Polydeuces with the Ashwins, the 2 brothers who were alike. We commence with an invocation of the 2 Ashwins, the 2 riders on the horse, Castor and Polydeuces, of the old Mediterranean mythology. Here you have a comparative mythological explanation in chapter 8 of Sri Aurobindo's The Secret of the Vedas. Their common character is that they are gods of enjoyment, seekers of honey. They are physicians. They bring back youth to the old, health to the sick, wholeness to the maimed. So that is the significance of Kestar and Polydeuces, or the Ashwini Kumars in Indian mythology. After the Renaissance, you have once again very few paintings done in the 18th and 19th centuries. But the 18th century pictures are somewhat significant because they are quite bold. The Enlightenment did not care very much for morals. Francois Boucher's 1741 painting is based on a pastoral scene. The 18th century had a great fascination for pastoral scenes, and here you have Leda, who is there with a friend of hers, and you have the swan trying to get closer to Leda. Leda is half appreciative, half afraid, and that is what the scene gives you. In the 19th century, you have a famous painting by Delacroix, the French painter. Then in England, there was the famous painting by Dante Gabriel Rossetti, the pre-Raphaelite poet and painter about whom you have read in your course. In the 20th century, once again, artists began to show the theme of Leda and the Swan with full vigor. You have the famous painting of 1882 in the late 19th century by the French Impressionist painter Paul Cézanne. Then you had one by Fabrizio Riccardi. Then in the 20th century, as I told you, another one by Henri Matisse. This was a 1944-46 painting, but the one that you find done by Fred Einaudi, Einaudi was born in 1971, appears to be quite bizarre because the painters tried to go deep into the love episode of Leda and the Swan, and Einaudi shows us Leda reclining on her arms while the swan is on her back, because among lower vertebrates, the cloaca works for the intestine, the rectum and sexual purposes, and that is probably the dominant idea in Fred Einaudi's painting of 1971. You have more stylized painting by Jerzy Hullerix. You also have one done by some artist in light before a Berlin hotel. All these paintings go on to show the theme of Leda and the Swan, which various artists from time to time have portrayed. In the 21st century, around 2006-09, Jolanda German did a series of paintings on the theme of Leda and the Swan. Leda and the Swan became a favorite topic not only in the West, but you have a specimen of the painting of Leda and the Swan in the Jai Vilas Museum at Gwalior. This is of course life-size statue which is based on the painting of Michelangelo, it appears, because you can see the swan making love with Leda in a very passionate form. Against this background, you should be able to appreciate the poem by W.B. Yeats called Leda and the Swan. A sudden blow, the great wings beating still above the staggering girl, her thighs caressed by the dark webs, the nape caught in his bill. He holds her helpless breast upon his breast. How can those terrified vague fingers push the feathered glory from her loosening thighs? And how can body laid in that white rush but feel the strange heart beating where it lies? A shudder in the loins engenders there the broken wall, the burning roof and tower, and Agamemnon dead. Being so caught up, so mastered by the brute blood of the air, did she put on his knowledge with his power before the indifferent bee could let her drop? I hope you would be able to understand this poem and appreciate it better against the background of the visuals that you have seen today. Thank you.